You know when you see a kid just endlessly mixing sand and water, or pouring every single pink color into one big brown puddle, and you just think, what is possibly going on in their head? Well, guess what? It's not just about making a mess. It's actually a secret code, a code for some really deep, powerful learning. Okay, let's get into this, but first, we need to start with a pretty surprising and honestly, a bit of a worrying reality from schools in the UK. Yeah, almost half. 44%. That's how many primary school teachers in the UK are saying that playtime has been cut back in the last few years. And you know why? It's that ever-increasing pressure from the curriculum. It feels like we're so focused on hitting academic targets that the one thing that actually builds the foundation for all of it, well, it's getting squeezed right out.
And this quote really gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? On one hand, we have this fundamental human right for every single child, the right to play. But on the other hand, that very right is being chipped away in the exact places they're supposed to be learning and growing. So what do we do? How do we bridge that gap? More importantly, how do we show everyone that play is the learning?
Well, the answer is we learn a new language. A secret language, really, one that kids speak through everything they do. It's the language of schemas. And once you understand it, you'll start to see the incredible learning that's hiding inside what, just looks like a total mess. Okay, so what in the world are schemas? The easiest way to think about them is like a child's own personal scientific method. They're these repeated patterns of behavior. You've seen them. The constant throwing, or putting things in boxes, or lining things up. They do it over and over again because they're testing out their ideas about how the world works. They're literally the building blocks of knowledge.
And hey, this isn't some brand new idea. It actually goes way back to the groundbreaking work of the psychologist Jean Piaget. He was one of the first people to really get that kids aren't just these empty buckets we're supposed to fill with information. Nope, he saw them as active, busy little builders, constantly putting together their own understanding of everything around them. And this cycle here, this is basically how they do it. So it starts with what he called assimilation. Let's say a toddler has an idea of doggy, 4 legs, furry. They see a cat, and it fits, doggy. But then disequilibrium hits, that doggy meows. Uh-oh, the new information just doesn't fit the old box. That conflict forces them to accommodate. They have to adjust their thinking, maybe create a whole new box called kitty, and finally they're back at equilibrium, but now with a smarter, more complex view of the world. Schemas are just this amazing cycle happening constantly, all day long. Okay, so here it is. This is the absolute key. It's all about a massive shift in how we see things. On one side, you've got the classic reaction. Ugh, this kid is just making a mess with the water again. But on the other side, with this new lens, you see something totally different. Wow, this child is deep in their transforming schema. How can I help? It's the exact same action, but a completely different universe of interpretation. One sees a problem. The other sees a scientist who just needs a better lab. All right, for the rest of our time here, we're going to zero in on just one of these amazing patterns. And trust me, it's one you definitely see every single day. We're talking about the transforming schema. So the transforming schema is exactly what it sounds like. It's all about change. Kids who are exploring this are completely captivated by how stuff can change, how it looks, how it feels, its entire state. This is the kid who mixes all the paints together, the one who could live in the mud kitchen, the little alchemist making potions out of anything and everything. They're all asking the same fundamental question. What happens if I do this? And this is where we can draw a straight line from that so-called messy play right back to curriculum goals. This isn't just random fun, not at all. It's a powerhouse for skill development. I mean, they're learning cause and effect. That's the heart of scientific thinking. They're getting a hands-on feel for volume and measurement. Hello, foundational math concepts. And all that pouring, stirring, and mixing, that's building up those crucial fine motor skills they'll need for writing later on. Okay, so we get the why now, right? It's super important. So let's talk about the how. How can you actually support this powerful schema in your classroom without, breaking the bank or spending all weekend prepping? Let's turn your space into a full-on transformation lab. First up, let's talk sensory stuff. These are amazing because the change happens right there and the kids can feel it. Goop is the absolute classic, right? Is it a solid, a liquid? It literally changes in their hands. And things like cloud dough or water beads give you that same kind of magical, hands-on wow moment where one thing completely turns into something else.
And, transformation can also be really beautiful. Just think about your art area as a kind of creative alchemy lab. Simple color mixing with pipettes is awesome for those little hand muscles and shows change so clearly. Oh, and there's this incredible Japanese technique called hapazome. You literally hammer flower petals onto fabric and their color transfers. You're transforming nature into art. It is pure magic. And of course, we can't forget the mud kitchen. It is the ultimate transformation station. But you can also bring that science inside with easy potion stations. Think baking soda and vinegar for some fizzing fun. And it's important to remember, transformation isn't always a big, fast reaction. Planting a seed, watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly, these things teach kids about slow, gradual change, which is a massive, super important concept to grasp. So let's just pull all that together for a second. What a table like this really shows is that direct line, from a simple, fun activity like making mud pies, all the way to a major learning outcome like scientific observation. This right here is the proof. This is the evidence that shows just how incredibly valuable this kind of play is. Okay, let's zoom out a bit now, because understanding schemas, it does way more than just help you plan activities. It fundamentally changes how you see every single one of your students. And honestly, it is an absolute game changer when it comes to creating truly inclusive classrooms. Think about it. For kids with diverse needs, or maybe kids who communicate differently, their schemas are like a crystal clear window straight into their brain. That child who is constantly dropping things, maybe it's not a behavior to be stopped. Maybe it's a deep scientific exploration of the trajectory schema. The moment we see the schema, we stop trying to manage behavior and we start supporting learning. It's a total shift from control to connection. Look, of course, none of this is easy. We get it. The pressure from the system is very, very real. Getting past that 44% number we started with, well, that takes a team effort. It's going to need teachers shouting about the value of play, it's going to need policy changes that actually protect it, and it's going to need real, practical training that gives educators the confidence and the tools to make it happen. So let's end with this thought. All of this play, all the mixing and the pouring and the exploring, it isn't a distraction from the real learning. It is the real learning. It's literally building the brain's architecture for everything that's coming next. So really, the final question isn't, can we afford to make time for play? It's, how can we possibly afford not to? Just imagine the kinds of learners we could create if we truly, finally embraced it.